Welcome to the Roman Polcha Show. I am so excited to be with you guys today, one day before the election, and to be more frank, 6 hours just about until the election, and boy do I have quite the show for you guys today. Lots of things to go over with such little time until the election, so I'm grateful for you to be here. I ask that you would like and subscribe and check out some of the other videos on the channel. I just did a breakdown yesterday, so thank you for that. And I hope that you will enjoy this video, and I hope that you will take something out of it. So the question is Kamala surging? Is Trump surging? And everything that you need to know leading up to the election, which is just a few hours away. So the first thing I wanted to address in this video is how unprecedented a race this is. How close the margins are. Everything is within the margin of error, and everything is unknown coming into this election. And we've seen close elections in the past. A previous election between Joe Biden and Donald Trump was a rather close election, but not to this extent. And it's truly unprecedented. And some of the things that I'm going to go over with you today in this video are going to show that. So, not just is this an unprecedentedly close race, I'm going to go over that. I'm going to go over the key states that are needed to win, a few different paths to victory for each candidate, and my prediction, as well as the latest and newest polls that we have leading up until the election, which is tomorrow. Little papers flying around. So, let's get right to it. So, the newest poll is a New York Times Siena poll and the final national average poll. These are going to be very crucial for you to understand the situation going into tomorrow's election. So this is what I would like to explain to you. Going into tomorrow's election, there is going to be 226 electoral votes, more than likely, almost 100% for Kamala Harris, and 219 electoral votes for Donald Trump. And then after those votes are secured, it'll come down to these 7 swing states, which are up in the air, to determine the road to 270 electoral votes. Those 7 swing states that are going to be crucial in determining the next president of the United States are, in no particular order, I should say, Pennsylvania, which has 19 electoral votes, Georgia, which has 16 electoral votes, North Carolina, which has 16 electoral votes, Michigan, which has 15 electoral votes, Arizona, which has 11 electoral votes, Wisconsin, which has 10 electoral votes, and Nevada, which has 6 electoral votes. Those are the 7 states that are going to determine the election, and I'll tell you right now, to give you an idea of how close this race is, the widest margin of error that we have, or the widest margin of victory that we have in the latest polls, are 3 percentage points. Donald Trump is leading in the national average in Arizona by 3 percentage points, and that is the largest lead in any of the swing states. So everything else is less than 3 percentage points. That is how razor thin this election is. This is how close it is going to be. So in the latest Siena poll, Pennsylvania and Michigan, which are worth 19 and 15 electoral points each, and are part of the blue wall that Joe Biden won in 2020, that Trump had won in 2016, which helped him win the election then, are both even, completely even, 48-48 in Pennsylvania and 47-47 in Michigan. That is insane, because those 2 states could be 2 of the most important states in deciding the next president of the United States, and they are so close that we don't even know who is winning. Now, other than Pennsylvania and Michigan, we have a few other major ones in the new New York Times Siena poll that I'm reading to you right now. Georgia is a 48-47 1-point lead for Kamala Harris. North Carolina is a 48-46 2-point lead for Kamala Harris. Arizona is a 49-45 4-point lead for Donald Trump. I know I said that the largest discrepancy we had was 3 points. That is in the national average. This is in the new New York Times Siena poll. Wisconsin, a 49-47 2-point lead for Kamala Harris, and Nevada, a 49-46 3-point lead for Kamala Harris. This New York Times Siena poll shows momentum for Kamala Harris that really is not being seen quite as much in the national average and in these other polls. But is she surging? This poll, I believe, took place between October 24th and November 2nd. This is very new, updated information, and New York Times Siena poll has her winning or even in every state except for Arizona. That is the only state that she was not either tied or winning in. That would be huge. If she won the amount of states and the Siena poll came true, she would 100% be your next president of the United States, which would be obviously extraordinary. So now we're going to look at the national average, and it's a lot different. The only thing that is really the same between the New York Times Siena poll and the national average is that Pennsylvania and Michigan, two of the most important states at 19 and 15 electoral votes apiece, both blue wall states, as I said, are both even as well in the national average. Still kind of crazy that those two states are even. We have no idea who has a lead. We've seen a lot of Harris plus ones. We've seen some Trump plus twos. It's been very back and forth and close. She has mainly held a steady lead, but now they're saying even, and Trump has clawed his way back. So that is interesting. Georgia and North Carolina, as well as Nevada, Trump has maintained +1. Georgia, North Carolina, two more southern states, and Nevada, way out west, like I said, Trump has maintained +1. Harris maintains +1 in the current national average, the final national average, I should say, before the election, at +1 in Wisconsin. Michigan and Pennsylvania remain even. All of which is within the margin of error in the poll sampling for the New York Times Siena poll and the national average. Everything is within the margin of error. You see Trump +3 is the largest percentage gap we have, and that's in Arizona, in the national average, and that is all within the margin of error. So basically what I'm telling you is, based on the New York Times Siena poll, it shows a little bit of momentum for Harris. She was leading in some of those. How accurate is it? It's very hard to know. In the national average, we're seeing even in Pennsylvania, even in Michigan, Trump with some small 1-point leads in Georgia, North Carolina, and Nevada, and Harris clinging onto a 1-point lead in Wisconsin, and that's what we're seeing out of those swing states. Wow. Now, a theory that's been floating around the internet, I've heard a few different political commentators address it, so I'm going to address it here as well, is that a possible reason that we are seeing so many evens, so many +1s this close to the election is because these media outlets don't want to look bad if either candidate wins, and truthfully, they think it's 50-50. They really don't know, so they're not willing to put any risky polls up that might have Harris with a big lead or Trump with a big lead in a certain swing state because they don't want to be made to look bad if either candidate wins due to the fact that it is that close. This is truly unprecedented how close of an election this is. Absolutely extraordinary. So, with that being said, those are the 7 swing states. That is the margin of error in the closest polls that we have this close to the election. You can see that it is extremely, extremely close. What are the paths to victory for each candidate? And then what is my prediction the night before the election? This is truly exciting, exciting stuff. So, the first path to victory comes with Donald Trump and truly, honestly, winning Pennsylvania and Nevada. If Donald Trump can win Pennsylvania and Nevada and still maintain his other states that he has, he can even lose North Carolina and still win the election. So, I was putting all of this information into a Road to 270 calculator today, so I'm going to read some of this stuff to you off the paper of the things that I wrote down and the notes that I took to precisely calculate the amount of electoral votes Donald Trump would need and the amount of electoral votes that Kamala Harris would need to win with these specific states based on the prior knowledge that 226 to 219 will be the score going into these final swing states. Trump wins 271 to 267 if he gets Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. So if he can steal one of the blue wall states, in this case, he would have to steal Pennsylvania. He can still lose North Carolina, which is one of the southern states that he's been leading in the whole time by a little bit. He can lose North Carolina to Kamala Harris if he maintains Georgia and Arizona and wins Pennsylvania and Nevada. That seems like one of his best possibilities to win. So that's possibility number one, is that Trump is able to lose out on North Carolina, but grab Pennsylvania and Nevada while maintaining his small leads in Arizona and Georgia to win the election 271 to 267. Do you understand how close this is? We're talking about, I spent countless time today putting all of this information into these Road to 270 calculators, and the amount of combinations of ways that these candidates can win the election is practically endless with these 7 swing states. There's so many different winning combinations for both Kamala Harris and for Donald Trump. You can hear it in my voice. This is this close, and we are only 6 hours away from the election, and I spent countless time today putting these into the calculator to see what would turn up and what would be the best chances for these candidates to possibly win. I read lots of articles, and this is so razor thin with these polls and these possible electoral college outcomes. What is Harris's easiest road to 270? Her simplest road is even simpler than the road I just listed for Donald Trump. Her simplest road is to win 270, exactly meeting the criteria of 270 electoral votes to win, to Donald Trump's 268 by just sweeping the blue wall. If she sweeps the blue wall, which would be winning Michigan, winning Wisconsin, and winning Pennsylvania, gaining the 10 Wisconsin votes, the 15 Michigan votes, and the 19 Pennsylvania votes, she would win 270 to 268, even if Donald Trump wins the other 4 swing states. She could win with those 3. He can take North Carolina, Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona if she sweeps the blue wall and maintains her lead in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, which to me seems like her most simple path to victory. So, what's Trump's second path to victory? This path may be a little bit easier than the last. This one involves him cracking the blue wall by 1. He needs either Michigan or Pennsylvania in this cracking of the blue wall situation for him to win. He wins 4 of the 7 swing states in this situation, maintaining his lead in Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. If he can maintain Georgia, maintain North Carolina, he's looking very solid. In that case, he would just need to crack the blue wall by winning one of Pennsylvania or Michigan. Let me say that again. If Trump maintains his 1-point lead and wins North Carolina and Georgia and maintains the 3-point lead to win Arizona, if he wins one of Michigan or Pennsylvania, he will be your president with a 277 to 261 electoral vote margin. In this case, I gave him Michigan over Pennsylvania. They're both even. It could go either way. I gave him Arizona, Michigan, North Carolina, and Georgia. To Kamala Harris, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Trump would win in that case scenario 277 to 261. Now, the fourth likely scenario, this one is Kamala Harris' next likely scenario to win the election. She would win, in this case scenario, 273 to 265. In this case scenario, Kamala Harris steals the South. If she can steal the South, she can steal the election. Remember that. If Kamala Harris can steal the South, she can steal the election. How would she do that? Well, she would do that by stealing, like I have down here, North Carolina. If she can steal North Carolina while maintaining her lead in 2 out of the 3 blue wall states and Nevada, she will be your next president of the United States. So, in order for her to win the South and win the election, she would have to steal North Carolina or Georgia. North Carolina and Georgia are both worth 16 electoral votes, so it does not matter which one she steals in this scenario. If she steals North Carolina or Georgia, she has to maintain her lead in two of the three blue wall states, meaning two of the three, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And she would, yes, if she does that and maintains her lead in Nevada, or wins Nevada rather, because she is losing by 1 point on the national average in Nevada, she will be your president with a 273 to 265 margin. So if Trump steals Pennsylvania, but then only hangs on to one of his two southern states of Georgia or North Carolina, wins Arizona, but can't keep a hold of the other southern state, Kamala Harris will win the election. So, what I'm saying is, if Kamala Harris can win North Carolina or Georgia, she can win the election by winning Nevada and still lose one of the three blue wall states. So, in this case scenario specifically, she steals North Carolina for 16 electoral votes while maintaining her lead in Wisconsin and Michigan. She wins Nevada, she can lose Pennsylvania. So, Kamala Harris can lose Pennsylvania and still win this election if she manages to steal one of the southern states. Now, with all this being said, this is a lot of information. I'm very hyped. I'm very nervous. We're only 6 hours away from the election happening. There is countless more scenarios than the ones I have just listed to you. These just seem to me to be the four most obvious ones. The four most obvious ones that I can think of that are likely to happen tomorrow, from the things I've read, from the calculators I put this stuff in, from everything that I've been seeing for months and months and months. The four most likely scenarios for this election are, now, some of these states specifically don't matter. Like, in this Harris wins the South, she can win North Carolina or Georgia. That doesn't really matter. She can lose Pennsylvania or Michigan, which also doesn't matter. Or that actually does matter, sorry. I may be excused there. Because if she were to win, this is the craziest thing. If she were to reverse Pennsylvania and Michigan, there is some situations in this election where you could see a 269 to 269 electoral tie, and in that case, the House of Representatives picks and all this crazy stuff, but we're not even going to get into that because that is going to go way over my head, way over your head. We're not even going to try to think about a 269 to 269 electoral tie. Let's just go over really quickly, summarize these four likely possibilities. Those four possibilities being Trump wins with PA and Nevada. He does that by winning PA and Nevada, well, mainly just winning PA, stealing PA, maintaining his lead in Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. In that case, he can lose North Carolina or lose Georgia so long as he keeps the other one. So Trump can win if he wins 4 of the 7 swing states while maintaining and keeping a lead and winning in Pennsylvania. Harris sweeps the blue wall. This is the most simple of all 4 possibilities. If Harris wins Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, it doesn't matter what happens in the other 4 swing states. Third, Trump cracks the blue wall. If Trump cracks the blue wall, he can win by maintaining a lead in Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, which he currently has a 3-point lead, a 1-point lead, and a 1-point lead. If he maintains those leads, if he steals one of Michigan or Pennsylvania, he's your next president. That's one of the possibilities. Trump cracks the blue wall. And the fourth one is Harris wins the South. If Harris wins the South, that means she loses one of the 3. She loses one of the 3 blue wall states while maintaining the lead in 2 of the 3. In this case, maintaining Michigan and Wisconsin, winning North Carolina or Georgia, so stealing one of those strong southern states from Trump, and winning Nevada. She'll be your next president. So those are your options. Now, what is my prediction? And then we'll kind of close up shop for the day. I need to settle down because this is making me nervous. Just thinking about all this math, thinking about all the electoral possibilities, the ties. Oh my goodness, this is so close of a race. So, my prediction is the polls are whack. They're too close. They're saying everything is 50-50, probably because they have no idea what can happen. We could still see a blowout if one of these candidates wins all 7 of these swing states, which is possible because they're all within 3 percentage points. So, What is my prediction? My prediction is 2 of those 4 things happen. 2 of them happen simultaneously. My prediction is that Trump cracks the blue wall. Yes, I think Trump has a chance to crack the blue wall. How can Kamala Harris still win? Because I still predict Kamala Harris will win this election. Trump cracks the blue wall, and what he's going to do to crack the blue wall is steal Michigan. If Donald Trump steals Michigan, cracking the blue wall, like we said, for him to crack the blue wall, what would he have to do to win the election? He would have to maintain his lead in Georgia, North Carolina, and Arizona, crack the blue wall, he wins the election. I think that this is all so crazy that I don't think anyone really knows what's going to happen. So I'm going to go on a little bit of a strange prediction and predict Kamala Harris wins 271 to 267. Trump cracks the blue wall, steals Michigan, but Kamala Harris also steals one of North Carolina or Georgia from Donald Trump. So what that would look like is Kamala Harris wins Pennsylvania, which I think that she will, due to Donald Trump's horrible, horrible rally at Madison Square Garden, which is going to cost him key Puerto Rican voters in the state. Kamala Harris wins Pennsylvania, maintains her lead in Wisconsin, steals North Carolina. If she wins Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and steals North Carolina, she can lose Nevada, lose Georgia, lose Michigan, and lose Arizona and win the election, and that is my prediction. Kamala Harris 271, Donald Trump 267. Kamala Harris wins Pennsylvania, wins Wisconsin, wins North Carolina. She loses Nevada, Georgia, Michigan, and Arizona to Donald Trump and still wins the election by a thin margin. So, that's my prediction. Obviously, anything can happen. This election is razor close. I thank you so much for watching this video today. As that bike just rides by, I ask you that you vote. Exercise your right as an American. Be proud. God bless. Thank you for watching, and have an amazing, amazing election day.